Blog Talk Radio.
Shalom, Lekulam. Peace to everyone. Welcome to the Reset Button Season 3. This season, we welcome the listener to join us while we journey through Isaiah, one of the most controversial books in the Word. We would like to accomplish understanding of the salvation of Israel mentioned. Is it one spoken of in the New Testament? Is it someone we're waiting on? Or is it in the past? Walk through this with us as we attempt to uncover this mystery. The call-in number is 516-595-8238. And press 1 at any time that you have questions or that you would like to leave a comment. Our collective email is histaught1talkradio@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is His Taught Ones and His Taught Ones Talk Radio. We also have the YouTube page at His Taught Ones Talk Radio. Subscribe and we'll be posting our episodes every week. Shalom and have a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another season of His Taught Ones. Talmidim, yo, here we go, back at it again. You did, yeah, yourself, Shema and some friends. We learned hard through better sheets, the Melachim, now fresh start to what is hot. I never yin, yeah, here come the prophets, they're dropping some knowledge, abolishing doctrines, apology nonsense. They bring the word, you can call them the pinpoint, given by the hand of the head, he is the pinpoint. Yeah, or could it be it's another? So many distances from the children, it's a misnomer. Honestly, the aroma is hideously unbearable. There is no one accord. How dare we say that we're hearing you? I don't wanna say
Kadosh Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Anachnu modim lecha al yom nosaf we al milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barech bivakasha et ha-mifkash hazeh. Please bless this gathering. Bo'u nishmiah. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yedid Yah. I am here with Brother Shema, and we have a guest panelist, Brother Jeff. Today is the Season 3 finale. So today we'll be closing out the season, and we'll be recapping, and we'll be discussing resets, season highlights, improvements, sustainments, and recommendations. For anybody that calls in, this is an open dialogue. You press 1 at any time that you want to speak or anything like that, just press 1. Normal routine, we'll let you in. Once we mute your mic, then just press 1 again and take you out the queue. I'm excited for today. Not only are we closing out this season, but, this is where we bring everything back and try to close out with one another and try to also, see where each other have come from and where we at now after an entire season. So I'm excited to see what these brothers on the panel have to say concerning all the topics that I mentioned previously. That's all I have. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I will pass it to Brother Shema.
Shalom, shalom, Mishpacha. Welcome. We have finally reached the mark, to the end of the season, man. Getting ready for the beginning of a new one. A lot has came about through these contextual studies. I'm very pleased for what we have gathered in our search and in our research and in our studies. And I'm interested to know, what the panelists and co-panelists have to say about it, and ready to start answering some questions and learning at the same time once again before we close out. Thank you all for tuning in, those that's on live with us, those that's online, listening online, and those that's listening back to the call. We appreciate you.
All right, Brother Jeff, you have your opening statement. We waiting on Brother Mercy to show up. So if he doesn't show up after you give your opening statement, Brother Jeff, we'll just proceed without him, and then when he comes in, I'll break him in. You there, Brother Jeff?
Yes, hit the wrong button. Shalom, everyone, and definitely glad to be here today as we close out this season. And definitely looking forward to what everyone has to say. It was definitely a great chapter to cover, or a book to cover, I should say. And I really don't have too much else to say in the opening statement, other than if I could, I try to be a man of my word. And I was wondering if I would be allowed to attempt to say the prayer, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah. Go right ahead.
Okay, and I'll definitely give him my best. And the opening prayer that I did say that I wanted to listen to it and see if I could actually pick that up. And I also want to start studying, this language as well. And it goes as such. Adonai, O Lord, HaKadosh Shel Israel, Holy One of Israel, Anachnu Modim Le'a Al Leum Nosea We'ala Milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barish Bebabakash It Al Mit Kashalal. Please bless this gathering. Bol Nishmial. Let us say amen. And that is my attempt to say the prayer. Thank you, brother.
All right. That was some words that was kind of, just the pronunciation of it and stuff like that. But that was a very, very good attempt. If you ask me, what you think, Shema? You there, Shema?
Wow. So the whole time I was mute. First of all, once he got started, I made a loud noise. I was saying, whoo-wee. That's what I did. So I wanted to redo that so that could be heard. Secondly, I want to encourage more so from a standpoint of we got to understand. You hear me when I speak. You heard someone like Janoe, Yosef when he spoke, Yedaya when he speaks. We all got different ways of talking. So I think you did excellent, especially from that standpoint. The pronunciation for me was great. I understand what y'all talking about, but at the same time, for me, when I study the language and I'm doing active listening, to different Hebrew speakers, natives, their pronunciations are not always the way that you think it is supposed to be. Like you know, you have a general understanding of what it's supposed to sound like, but the way they speak is different. What you would say, slang or not slang, but like country talk versus Chicago city talk. They say words differently.
Dialect.
Dialect. You can say dialect, yeah. So I wouldn't more so say his dialect is different, but I would say just like say it's two Chicago people. I'm gonna try to talk fast. I'm trying to get a point. My point is you did excellent, but you have two Chicago people speaking. The way I speak versus someone else in Chicago, we have the same dialect, but we talk differently. So I think, like I said, you did excellent, man. I was sitting up here like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Where did that come from? I would think you speak Hebrew. Put it like that. I wouldn't think. I even like the way like in a native type of way. It was dope. I just didn't expect that. So I think you did an excellent job. I know I'm ranting now, but I'm just trying to let the listeners know and let you know that with that excellent job, even native speakers don't sound the same when they say words. That's what I'm saying. So, it isn't a knock take away from what Yedaya said, because he's a perfectionist, period. And that's a good thing, too, but I also want to encourage the fact that native speakers do not say words the exact same. They speak the way that they speak. And with that, I yield. And I know that because I'm actually getting taught by a native speaker. And she speaks, and she's Hebrew, of course, but it's some things I hear, and I'm like, oh, well, Ben Blackwell said it differently, but they're saying the same thing, was my point. That's it.
Right. Yeah, man. So I definitely want to encourage the fact that, Brother Jeff did it. Just by, and I think my angle was more so is like he's listening to what I'm saying and trying to repeat.
Mimic it.
So
mm-hmm.
the words, some of the words that I heard him, like the accent, I love the accent, how he said it like in a native way. With some of the words, it was like not because I didn't give him the words and say, okay, these are the words. He went off of listening to what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard from my perspective, knowing the words that was put together to make the prayer, because that's not a prayer that you could find. I made that prayer up. So from my point of view, just some of the words, when he said it, I knew that he was trying to just go off of what he thought he heard me say, opposed to, okay, this is the word he used. I'm going to use this word, and then it just being in his dialect. So that's kind of like what I was trying to say, but I don't think I did a very good job of saying it. But at the end of the day, the brother just listened to it and was able to say it. He don't even, he knows what I said because I say it in English after each part, but not knowing the Hebrew words, personally, that is a very awesome job. That's what I want to say. So, brother, man of his word, wow. He came in and did it right off the bat. He ain't try to wait or nothing. He said, let me get this out the way. So, me, as Brother Shema stated, I like stuff like that. I like to be up front. I like to get things done when it's supposed to be done. We ain't even have to remind the brother. He said, hey, I want to be a man of my word. So I love that character about Brother Jeff.
Yes, sir.
All right,
hey,
well,
Brother Jeff, to continue. Like you said, you want to learn it. Man, I guess we're going to talk about some stuff towards the end of this. I don't know how you got the setup, so I'm going to be quiet and let him be the the host as he is, but I'm sure he's in my head right now as far as where I was about to go with it. So I'm gonna yield. But if he don't say anything, let's believe I say what I was gonna say.
Oh, I know you. I'll make it to where what I'm saying. I'll open the flow to you to go ahead and say it. But all right, Brother Mercy, he hasn't called in yet, so we do have. I believe Sister Hookmine the Q. I'm going to open up her mic, let her speak, and then hopefully by that time Brother Mercy will be done called in. If not, we'll just move forward. All right, Sister Hookmine, you are live.
Shalom, shalom. You guys know I love to ask questions, but as far as sitting on the panel, I'm not there yet. But I did want to say, what do Anaknu mean? That was my question.
You want to answer this, Brother Shemai, or do you want me to?
How about let's let see. Well, I don't know. Well, do Jeff, do you know what it is? If not, then we'll go ahead and say it. But I want to, test them out. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, he probably
right.
push mute.
Oh, mute. Okay. Well, Anaknu is a version, or the standard, I would say, to say we. We. Anaknu is we.
Yeah. So it's. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you good. I was just basically saying. Okay. Yeah, I was just basically saying it's a standard. There is a. Correct me if I'm wrong, a shorter way of saying it, but the standard is normally Anaknu.
Anaknu. I just love the way it sounds. I was just curious.
Yeah, so so the shortened version is Anu.
Mm-hmm.
So Anu is the shortened version that he's speaking of. Anaknu is, like you said, the standard version, and it basically, like you said, it translates as we. It's just a personal pronoun, plural form for how you hear ani is I, or anochi is I as well, but the modern standard version is ani. So it's just anachnu is we.
Okay. And as I hear the word and you told me what it means, I'm sitting here as you guys are talking, and I'm like, why do I like that word so much? And the way I talk, you all, I was like, it came to me that it's because it's we, which means unity, which is a whole. And so it just resonated with me when I just hear that word, and then to know what it means, I know why, because we need unity. And so that's all I wanted to say for now. I'm pretty sure I have much to say because this is a recap of the show for this first season, and I have actually reset a couple of things. Isaiah really has done it for me. So I'll just let y'all go ahead until y'all need more.
All right. Mute your mic.
I also want to say one thing, Sister Chokma, or Sister Chokma Achoti, that you could still be on the panel. I mean, you could be there and just, when we just ask you if you want to say anything, if we have any words or questions, because you're going to have questions. You're probably going to have comments. We just sitting on the panel is just sitting there. I mean, when we sit on the panel, when he's talking, I mute my phone. That's about it. And you see when we go through the chapters, and say if he's the host, he'll be like, well, normally we just come on and speak because we have one over the chapter, but if we went over the chapter, the only thing you'll hear him say is, hey, do you have anything to say for ad? And that's all we're doing for the people that's on the panel, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did, yeah.
Nah, you're not wrong. This more so, especially for this show, that's why, it doesn't require much. All you're doing is responding to the topic and it's nothing like that you have to study for. Or you have to have some type of explanation for anything that you read. It's just more so giving a response. So maybe by next finale you'll be ready, and just pay attention to how we do it, and then you'll see it's very, very easy, not complex at all. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. I'm predicting that this show shouldn't be that long, but we'll see how things go. All right, so we'll just go around and we'll keep the same order, but as we address the different topic of discussion, then we'll rotate it. So I'll go first for this first one, and then Shemai, then Brother Jeff, and then for the next topic, it'll go Shemai first, Jeff, then I'll go last, and then we just keep rotating it around. All right, first topic is resets. All right, as you all know, this is the reset button, and one of the main things that we kind of focus on or pay attention to is resets. For those that don't understand what a reset is, it's basically information or understanding that you previously had before we went through the book contextually or whatever material that we covering for that season. And you run across it like, man, that kind of destroys my understanding, or it resets my way of thinking regarding this particular topic or this particular verse or this particular doctrine. So that's what a reset is. So one reset that I had in the show was the understanding of the character Lucifer, or the being, or whatever you want to call it, which is, the reference for that is Isaiah 14:12. Reading that in context, I realized that the common understanding, my previous understanding of who Lucifer was completely wrong, and I had to reset my mind on that. If anybody wants to know further details on the reset that I made, then that's something we could talk about. But so that's one of my resets.
All right. I want to comment on that, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Was that one of the that's one of the requirements to comment if we had a comment about the personal reset, right?
Yeah, we can have an open dialogue about that reset, and then once we finish that dialogue, then we'll go to the next person for that reset.
All right. So I think that is I think that that's a good reset, man. We've been through and we've went through a better understanding when dealing with that. And it's even deeper. I know we're not going into that. We're just bringing the surface of resets or whatnot. Definitely change that aspect from, being in Christianity and then coming over to the quote-unquote truth. Grew in that understanding in regards to Hasatan. I don't know if, not to take over your reset, but, just the background of it, we have realized through the contextual study that, Hasatan or Hashatan, it could basically be, anyone, an adversary. So I just wanted to speak on that and just add to that. I think that is a huge, huge reset, because when you have that understanding of the reset, then it starts to bring forth personal accountability. So that's all I have as a comment. I don't know if you wanted me to go straight into mine and then Jeff come in, and if he had a comment, then he goes into his, or you want me to allow him to comment, if he has a comment, to go, and then I go ahead and go with my reset.
Yeah, since we doing it, since you did like that, just go ahead and let Jeff speak, and then, I'll close it out. Like if he had a question for me, that'll allow me to close out my reset, and then start with you.
Okay.
All right, and thank you, brothers. And I did want to say that I definitely hit the reset button on that as well. I think the important thing that I would like to say about the whole reset button is I heard about this scripture years ago. And when you're not really studied up, especially when you come across a lot of teachers, preachers, whoever the case may be, you tend to give them, you kind of like begin to trust them simply because they are able to take you to a specific scripture in the Bible, and you're like, wow, man, that's where Lucifer came from. So without having a lot of knowledge, just from that instance like that I encountered, it would also lead me to believe every word that came out of that person's mouth, simply because they were able to take me to one scripture in the Bible. So now, after having been with the group since it started, I can truly say that going through the Bible contextually, the scriptures contextually, it definitely not only opens your eyes and helps you reset, but it also causes you to be aware of what people tell you. So now you don't take it just for face value. Like, no, I got to go back and research that. So I think that's a great thing, because, sometimes we hear about Lucifer, the devil, and all that, and we don't really know how to explain. So we tend to regurgitate what we've been taught and say, hey, yeah, just go right here to Isaiah 14. You'll find out what he's all about. He was in charge of the music. He kicked them out of heaven and all this other good stuff. So when I go any further, I'd just like to say I think that's one of the important aspects that I take away from the program, from the talk show, is that you're able to actually read it for yourself with a panel and listeners, and then therefore you can see it with your own eyes, and that therefore enable you to hit your reset button. So I'm glad that we have this program. Thank you.
Hey, brother,
You're muted.
take over real quick?
No. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. I'll be back shortly.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and continue. I will go ahead with my reset. It's a few of them. And even the one that I'm going to present can connect with one of the major ones that I have. And, one of us is going to say it before the other, more than likely. But for me, the reset that I have taken, or that I'm going to put out right now, is attaching. You know what? No, I'm going to go even smaller than that. Learning not to attach everything to a situation contextually. So, for example, one of the things that we do, or in modern Christianity, even in the truth, quote unquote, is everything is attached to Yeshua or Yahushua or Jesus. That has been a major reset for me. Everything. From the Garden of Eden and being there, to everything pointing to him being the angel of the Lord, to him being in the bush, to him being things like that. That's one major reset that I have did specifically. And it's about 3 more resets, 2 or 3 more resets that's attached to that, even, but that was one of the first ones in regards to Yeshua, or Jesus. One of the first resets in regards to him that I did. So that's it for me as far as what's that. Not sure if you have a comment to that.
I'm back.
You did? Okay. Did you get to hear what I said or no?
I heard what you said. I didn't get everything Brother Jeff said. So,
okay.
Was that reset for the reset that you just said? Was that your actual reset for this season, or was you just elaborating on what Brother Jeff said?
I don't know if he said anything about Jesus.
No, I'm just saying because I know he was talking about just the reset in general, and then I think that's like you picked up off of that. But was that one of your ones?
I went into my reset. My reset was
okay.
Yeah, my reset was the first one in regards to, because I got a couple in regards to Yeshua, or Jesus. But the first one in regards to him was the attaching of everything. In particular, being with him being, angel of the Lord, him being. I mean, we already spoke on that in the seasons prior, but so I just kind of like coupled everything together. So attaching everything in the old to it being him and or talked about him. That's my reset.
Okay. Brother Jeff, you can go ahead and speak about that one, and then it'll come back around to me. If you have anything for that.
Okay, so did, and I think that's an important reset as well, because there's always been an attempt to connect Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, to the Old Testament, as if him being who he is wasn't enough. So it always seems like there had to be an attempt to justify his existence by going back to the Old. And I, for some reason, I just don't understand why is that so significant to where it has to be supported in the Old. And I think, in my own personal opinion, because there's a lot of agendas that are being pushed, and I definitely don't want to get off into that, but basically with the virgin birth, but that's going to be something I'm going to discuss on my reset. But I just think that that's interesting how a lot of individuals they take a major attempt to try to go back and prove his existence by bringing the scriptures into play. And like you said, we've seen as we gone through multiple seasons that a lot of the things that he did, it had already been done back in the Old Testament with other people that the Most High used. So interesting to see why is that attempt to keep trying to, push his existence. And that's all I have.
All right. So I'm going to kind of respond to both of you brothers' comment. It definitely is a reset that started previous seasons, but still is prevalent to this season. As Brother Jeff said, but I'm not going to go into what Brother Jeff was saying until he speaks on that as his reset. My thoughts on both comments is that, like, these two brothers is right on what they thinking, because you have to ask yourself why. As Brother Jeff said, why do you feel like you have to do that? So it also fashions my mind to also be looking for other things to figure out, like, what's really going on. And so right now I'm kind of like, I'm in a reset, but at the same time, I'm looking to figure out something else. So, like, my mind is open to try to figure out, you know, where's the disconnect, I guess, is the best way to say it. But I definitely would say that is a major reset, but I think it leaves people wondering. So that's all I say about that at this point. All right, Brother Jeff, you got the floor for your reset.
Okay, and I definitely would say that out of all the that's been said, I think for me, the one major reset that I had was discussed in Isaiah 7:14 through 16, and then again Isaiah 9:6 through 7, and something that has been pushed for years in regards to the person that they were referring to, as far as for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government, and then the mentioning of the virgin, and how this was tied to the Messiah's birth with Mary, and so on and so forth. I think that was a major reset, because I know there's still more to come. But what I like about the show is that when you have a group of panelists that are not more or less pushing their agenda, it's just going according to the scriptures and nothing else, and bringing out those points. Actually, it was just in plain sight, to where I could actually hit my reset button and see that, this definitely wouldn't be referring to the Messiah. Now, the only thing about that is, as I noticed during the time that it was being discussed and some callers came in, you can see that there was a lot of, discontentment, if you will. Like, what are y'all brothers talking about? Y'all going a little bit far. It seemed like it became a question of, do you believe in the Messiah? Do you believe that the Messiah exists? Where in this case, that wasn't the case. It was just saying, according to this scripture and context, it does not support that. So I think that was a major reset for me, and I've actually ventured out and mentioned it to a couple of people and got a lot of backlash from it as well. And it's only because I myself was taught this years ago. Now, in closing, I would say that not only was this a major reset for me, but I think the key to this that really brought it home, if I remember correctly, Sister Hakma, is that how you pronounce the name right? I don't want to mess it up. Either when
Hakma or Hokma. Yeah.
Hokma. I think she
pronounces it Hakma. So yeah, that's how she pronounces it. So we gotta,
I do apologize, Sister. Yeah, but what I wanted to say is, in regards to the reset mentioned, what really brought it home for me is, I hope I remember this correctly, when you said that there were people who died believing this to be the truth, and that's when it really set with me, and it kind of like gave me that little push to say, hey, look, I don't want anybody else to die believing that this is the truth, because it's critical. So that's my major reset for this whole entire season, and just want to thank the sister for making that statement, because it really hit home, and it kind of like motivated me to kind of like start speaking to others that I interact with, and kind of pick their minds and let them know. So that's all I had about the major reset with Isaiah 7 and 9, and then of course there was something else later on down the road where I think we established that it may have been someone else, but that's all I want to start with right there.
All right, I'm going to speak to that, then let Brother Shema speak to it, then we'll get back. I did have another reset. So that, that's amazing, because I know a lot of people, I can imagine the backlash that you got. I know the backlash that I get. Not so much because I guess I'm very to myself with a lot of these things. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but so a lot of people, unless they deal with me, and people that I deal with people that are humble enough, and I deal with people that are not like radical to a point to where if I say anything that they don't agree with, that they just cut me off or they shun me or whatever like that. This ain't about that. I've been in probably almost every position because I'm a seeker. You know what I'm saying? And I don't stop. And I don't get frustrated. I don't get discouraged with new information. A lot of people, sadly, are not like that. So, the people that I deal with this literature with are most likely people that are like myself. So, again, I don't know if that's good or is that bad. You know, right now it just is what it is. I've been through the strife in the earliest stages, and I didn't like it, so I kind of fell back. But, you know, I say what I say when it's time for me to say it, but I'm just not at a point to where I'm ready to get back out there and try to convince people or even share a lot of the information, because I know a lot of people are not mentally ready for it. So I kind of feel like I would be wasting my time. But the other stuff, the Isaiah 9 and 6, I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the highlights of the season. So I'm not going to address that right now. I will wait. So I pass the mic to you, Brother Shema. Brother Shema.
Is this another reset that I'm putting out, or am I?
No, you responding to Jeff's reset, and then I'm going to do another reset, and if you have another reset, it'll get back around to you.
Okay. So, yeah, in response to Brother Jeff, yeah, I mean, I agree with him, you know, because people, they once you bring something like this, they say, well, you're taking away from the divinity of them. I said, well, you know, I try to tell them, what I did is I got inside the minds we got inside the minds of the actual writers themselves by going through it contextually and culturally and consistently. And what we've seen is, and then what I did is I actually remembered the things he would say when I was studying in the New Testament often, or the Gospels often. And I'm like, well, you know, this is actually, it makes perfect sense. You know, it doesn't take away from not the divinity. It doesn't take away from him per se. You know, well, do you believe in him? Well, what do you mean by believe? You know, so that's not how the conversations go. I'm like, I believe, you know, definitely it's a chance that he was here. You know, he was a great teacher, things of that nature. But I do believe that things, more than likely, was agendas behind it, because it's just not adding up to the foundational text. So, you know, again, you don't have to be. You can be divine without having some superpowers. You know, it's a lot. It's really deep. So I'm gonna end it with that. It's a lot to bring out. It's even things that I'm sure that some of us on here has not, brought out. And but just basically just commenting on what he said, yeah, I got that a lot, and I just did my best to explain. And for the most part, people just kind of, some understood, some just got quiet because, the way I presented it, like they couldn't argue with it, honestly. So they just, okay, let's go to the next conversation. And that's it.
All right. If you don't have any last remarks, Brother Jeff, from your, because this is your reset, then I'll go to my next one.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything else. That was the only reset that I had.
All right, so I only did 2 resets strictly regarding Yeshayahu or Isaiah. And my second one was the salvation of Isaiah. So the salvation spoken of in the book of Isaiah, I reset on that. It was taught to me that the salvation that was spoken of was of a apocalyptic salvation, eternal, everlasting. I no longer really take that position in a sense. Now, I do know when we was going through it, I know that his salvation is eternal, but I look at it more so now as throughout the generations. So every generation in need of salvation, he can provide it. That's the way I look at it now. But the specific salvation that Yeshayahu was speaking of was for those people and their children, or the people at the time, or the generations, the few generations to come, because they were in captivity in this narrative. So the salvation was speaking of them being restored in their land. So that was a major reset for me.
Yeah, that's a good reset. It changes the dynamic of the understanding of it, especially the understanding of the those that we're reading about. It doesn't seem as though that was the Semitic or Hebrew understanding, the way that we look at it today. So I definitely agree with that. And I believe that's the proper understanding of it. And that definitely right there was one of my resets as well. And that's it.
Brother Jeff?
Yeah, I like that reset as well. I think the thing that I see from it is if I'm in trouble, and the Most High is the one that I'm looking to get me out of the trouble. And for him to come and say, yeah, I ain't going to get you out, but I'm going to get some people, a couple of years on down the road, I get them out. I need help now. Not to be encouraged by what you're going to do for, the people to come, because I'm in trouble now. So I think in context, what I'm looking at with a lot of things, which I'll bring up in the season highlights, is that I see that the Most High, I see that I trust him to be someone who understands that, his people, if they need him, and if he's trying to get them back in the right path, then, whoever he sends is speaking to them at that point in that time. Because it doesn't really motivate me, or it wouldn't have motivated me to hear about what you're going to do in the future. when my current condition is not looking too bright. So I agree with that reset, and I think that contextually that kind of like a lot of the stuff is just when you really sit down and think about it from a broad standpoint, it's like, yeah, he's talking about the people right then. So, again, these studies actually help you to just see things from a basic standpoint. And I don't think the Most High is really complicated in how he operates. And as you read the scriptures for yourself, you begin to see that more. And that's all I had on that.
Great point from both of you brothers. I really like just how you close that out, Brother Jeff. And I'm happy to hear that, it changed your mindset completely, like not only just for biblical research, but also just your way of life, your thinking of, hey, I need salvation now, like in my current situation. So I love that because, why not have both? Now I'm not saying that there is no eternal salvation. I want to make that clear. Like, that hasn't dawned on my mind yet. But that's something that I have to keep studying. But as of right now, like far as the context of Yeshayahu, I know that salvation was for that generation and or the generations to come. Because, of course, you have some old people that's about to die. So, of course, it wouldn't be for them. And we read that as well in context where they say your children will. You know what I'm saying? So, just like he said, when you sit down, think about it, and just read it for yourself, it'll come to you. And if you reset your mind while you looking at it, like take off that old mind that has all those ideals already there, and read it, with a clear mind, a clear conscience, and just read it for what it is. It'll come to you real easy. It's on you, Brother Shema.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, you could bring your, if you had another reset. I don't know if you did or not.
Oh, well, I guess we kind of already covered it in a sense. My reset would have been along the lines of Isaiah not speaking of Yeshua in Isaiah 53. Due to understanding how, and the consistency of Isaiah in total, how they spoke, the he, when we were seeing it, that was speaking of, that could be taken from a collective plural standpoint. I remember I had brought out, I think it was it or she or something like that. I just know that we were seeing consistently how, when it seemed as though it would be speaking of one or speaking of multiple. Also, how we understood that time frame, majority of that Isaiah leading up to Isaiah 53, it was really speaking of what was going on during the time of those kings. Isaiah was dealing with them. So my reset would be, if I haven't said it already, or if anyone hasn't brought it out yet, that Isaiah is definitely not speaking of Joshua. So that was my second part to that in regards to him.
Cool. Brother Jeff, you got anything to comment on that?
No, I didn't have anything. No.
Okay. So we're going to move to the season highlights, which you could lead that off, Brother Shema. Season highlight is basically what was some of the highlights of the season for you.
Well, the season started off in Isaiah, right? Or was it
Correct.
the end of Kings? Okay, Isaiah. I would say one of the season highlights was when, I think it's Isaiah 6 and 9 or Isaiah 9 and 6. I always get those chapters and verses mixed up. When later on, a few chapters down, we actually pinpointed who that person was that it was speaking of, or it was alluding to who we had thought it to be. I think it was either Hezekiah or it was someone else. I don't remember his name, but I know we had connected contextually who it was alluding to. It was either him or it was another person, but I can't recall that other person right now. So that's one of the highlights, because I already mentioned Isaiah 1:1. That was the initial one, like, let you know exactly what it was concerning. So those two for me, because this whole book has been the whole season, those are the ones I can really think of at this particular moment.
All right, you got some on that, Brother Jeff, as far as what Shema is talking about?
Yes, I also looked at that as a highlight as well, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, maybe later on in Isaiah 23, 20 through 25. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Brother Yosef who actually picked up on that as well. I kind of mentioned some of the attributes that it talked about, the government being upon its shoulders, and a lot of things that kind of like identify with what was spoken earlier in 9. So again, I think that's the importance of going through the scriptures contextually, and you may, and I noticed, and when we started off, initially, if you identify that this is not the Messiah, you can't really, in order to, well, why you don't think it's the Messiah? Well, we have to continue on down and let the scriptures speak for themselves. So I think that's even including that highlight, or adding on to that highlight that you said, Brother Shema, is that, by being patient throughout this walk, then you're definitely, the Most High will reveal, or confirm what's in His Word. But you got to read through the whole book and be patient. And I think that's a good thing, a good highlight that you brought out, because as we went on through the scriptures, we did stumble across someone else who was identified or who could fit that description of Isaiah 9. And that's all I had on that. Good point, good highlight to bring out as well. And that's all I have.
All right, so I'm going to speak on this, and me and this brother basically had the same highlight, but mine is from a little bit different angle of why it was a highlight for me. Same highlight, but just I'm going to go more into why, and then, we'll pass it back to Brother Jeff for if he had an additional highlight. But I'm going to go ahead and knock mine out now because it's the same highlight as I elaborate on what his highlight is. So, so the person was Eliakim, or Eliakim. So that was the person, and it was Yosef. It was a show where it was just me and Yosef on, and it was right at the end. It was I think it was the last chapter that we had did for that episode. And it was Isaiah 22 and 20. And I actually want to kind of go over it a little bit, if I could, if y'all don't mind. So I'm going to pull it up real quick, because Isaiah 9 and 6, for those that, missed it, that's what we kind of coupled it with. But it say, for unto us, Isaiah 9 and 6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. I think that's as far as I need to go. But I'll do 7 as well. Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with the government and with justice for henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. All right, so that's what that was. I know also with that you hear like everlasting and all that, which I came to an understanding that it's not to the effect of what we think that is. Which everlasting, yeah, you look at those things, but you got to look at what's being presented. It's saying everlasting, but it's talking about the throne of David, so on and so forth. So I want to go to the part that we actually came across during the show, which is Isaiah 22 and 20. So this is later on down the line. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will call my servant Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah. All right. And this is 21. And I will clothe him with the robe and strengthen him with thy girdle. And I will commit the government into his hand. I always say colon. And he shall be a father to the established, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. All right, we know that's where the government, basically, where the Most High king before the split between the northern and southern kingdom. Everything was governed from Jerusalem. Okay, and this is where Judah, the house of Judah, resides at. All right, 22. And the key of the house of David, okay, remember he talked about the throne of David, everlasting. House of David will I lay upon his shoulders. Okay, there goes shoulders, government. We saw the government. So he shall open and none shall shut. Okay, that's that everlasting, what it's talking about in the sense of what it's talking about. And he shall shut and none shall open. Okay, and I will fasten him as a nail. That means he will not be removed. All right. In a sure place, and he shall be for a glorious throne to his father's house. All right, we talked about David's throne, everlasting. 24, and they shall hang upon him all the glory of his father's house, the offspring and the issue, all vessel and small quantity for the vessels of cups, even to all the vessels of the flagons. Okay, I'll go ahead and read 25. In that day shall the Lord of hosts, shall the nail that is fastened in the sure place be removed. Okay, now we get more context. Okay, it shall fastened in the sure place be removed and cut down and fall, and the burden that was upon it shall be cut off, for the Lord has spoken it. Okay, so it's showing you that, all right, just because something it says is everlasting, it doesn't mean like it's eternal. It just means that it's steadfast. So in context, it may have a different meaning than what we believe it to be, because these are also the words of the Most High. So it's saying that he will put him in this position until the work is done, and then something else is going to come about. All right? So that was the reset now. And it was a highlight as well, but what made it such a highlight is the fact that Brother Mercy had actually, when I went through Isaiah 1 through, I think it was 11, and I linked it up with 2 Kings to show the context and also to show the timeline. I think at the time Brother Mercy didn't really agree with it, and I don't know why. I'm not giving a reason why, but I do know Brother Mercy was out for a few episodes after that rest show that I went through that timeline, and from my perspective, we didn't know if he was coming back or not, or if what happened. And then the day he came back was the show that came out. And he basically was like, I think he said he hit his reset on it. So that was amazing to me how that all fell in place, because he could have missed that show and still in his mind been in disagreement, which it was also a show. I hit my reset because I thought it was talking about Hezekiah, but Eliakim actually was in the same, governmental setup as Hezekiah. So Hezekiah was the king, and he was like more of an advisor or something to that effect. So that was interesting, and that's all I got.
Now what chapter was that again for the listeners? Isaiah
22.
22 and
starts at 20. Starts at verse 20, and you could read all the way down to the end of the chapter, which is 25, verse 25.
Yeah, man, that was dope. That was a sinker right there. I don't know. But yeah, man, that's that was one for me. That that scriptures where everybody goes to and uses, and when I don't think I was there like you said, and that's just it, man. That's context.
All right, I believe it's on Brother Jeff for his highlight, and
it's on me for a highlight.
Yeah, you can bring out another highlight that you thought for the season.
Okay. Well, the highlight that I wanted to bring out actually was at the beginning of the season, and I think it was actually, and I remember, first of all, it was finishing up with Kings, and then I'm sure it was probably a question, okay, why are we going to Isaiah? I thought we was going through all the books in the Bible, so let's go on, finish, go on. But then that was a good highlight because it shows how it's tied in, because here we have Isaiah, as you mentioned, was in 2 Kings, and it just made a lot of sense to actually, finish Kings and then go right into Isaiah. But the highlight of that, I like the way it was tied in from Kings to going to Isaiah. But I think for the what really set the tone for me is verse 1 of Isaiah, chapter 1. And it kind of like, as we're talking about putting everything in context, and I think the beginning of the chapter kind of like does that for the entire chapter. And how it reads the vision of Isaiah. It was a vision. And I remember Brother Yedidiah actually emphasizing on this key verse. And if you get it right here, then it kind of like sets the tone for everything else. So it was a vision for Isaiah. And it talked about, how it was concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jonathan, Jotham, and Ahaz, Hezekiah, and the kings of Judah. So for me, that was a highlight for the entire season because that lets me know in proper context that's what we're going to be dealing with in this book. Nothing outside of that. Nothing in a prophetic way, if you will, because if that was the case, I think it would have been mentioned right here. So I think with that highlight being said, if we stick to context, it almost, like I said earlier, it's almost as if a lot of the scriptures are being used to push agendas in some cases. But if we just read what the actual scripture says, it gives us a purpose of the book, and that was just dealing with these kings during that time. So that was a highlight that I wanted to bring out, and like I said, that set the tone for the remainder of the season, because I know now from this first verse what we're going to be dealing with, and that's all I had on that highlight.
All right, that's awesome. I think Brother Shema spoke on that a little bit as well when he was talking previously. So I think that one probably affect everybody that was willing to have an open ear. That definitely is probably was one of the biggest highlights because it did set the tone. So I agree with what he's saying as far as setting the tone, especially that being that we deal in context and we don't, it kind of, if you would allow, excuse me, if you would allow it to, it kind of demobilizes you from jumping around. Like, it's like, okay, this is what it is. Now I just have to read and keep in mind, the setting for this book. And then, so that's a big thing, and that's also something that I believe people should take with them when they read any other book, so to say. So that's all I got for that. Let you speak on it, Brother Shema.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, Y'all know I kept going back to that the whole time. So, with the Isaiah 101, but I don't have anything extra.
All right. Yeah, so, did anybody else have any additional highlights that they wanted to talk about?
Not one that comes to mind right now. Yeah, that's it for me, I think.
I don't have any either. That was it for me.
Okay. It works. So we'll move on to the AAR portion, after action review. For those that don't know that acronym. So basically what we would do, just looking at everything that occurred during the season, and then we will basically put our input regarding, first we'll look at improvements for the show, and then we'll move into sustainments and then with that we'll give recommendations as far as the improvements. So I guess we'll do sustainments first. Let's just do sustainments, and then we'll do improvements along with recommendation. So if you give an improvement, provide a recommendation on how we can improve. All right, so we'll start with with sustainment, starting with Brother Jeff. I think, well, who went? Yeah, it rotated around. So, Brother Jeff, you start this one off, then it'll go to me, then Brother Shemaiah.
All right. In regards to sustainments, I think the show is going well. I would highlight one sustainment that I noticed is how sometimes as the show is going on, there may be some times where some questions come out, and then it kind of gets a little, a little drawn out. I like how panelists actually say, you know what, let's just do this at a rest show. So I definitely think that should be a sustainment. Continue to do that because, as you're going through, there may be certain things that, questions that come out from the chapters that are being covered that day. And I think it's good how the panelists handle, the callers or anyone on the panel that has questions that may be a little extended because a lot of people are giving their input. But I, as a caller, I do appreciate the fact that, I'm not just blown off like, look, that ain't what we talking about today. You just get on it, let's keep going. I appreciate the fact that the panelists actually say, you know what, we have to move on. How about we just take that down and use that as a rest show topic? So I think that definitely should be a sustainment, and I like the fact that the way that's handled, and then that's one of the sustainments that I would say would need to continue on. Thank you.
All right, that's major. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad that that you actually are on the panel to express that. So, with that being said, I'm gonna let Shema speak on. Excuse me. I'm gonna let Shema speak on that, and then I will give my next. I will get the next sustainment.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring it, that was brought out. I think that we should continue in doing it. I know we will. Taking initiative as far as taking the notes to write down for us to continue and implement that into a potential future rest show. So I really don't have nothing to add to that. I mean, it's self-explanatory what he mentioned, and I agree with it.
All right, so that would be a sustainment. All right, so in the essence of that, I would say that we sustain the finale shows, and on the finale show that we bring, the active listeners or give them the opportunity to be a part of the finale panel. Brother Shema, you could either pass it or say I agree, and then pass Brother Jeff. He could give his thoughts on it, but that's my sustainment, or one of them.
Yes, your sustainment is to do what we did today. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Basically, to keep, because last time we didn't have people on the panel. We didn't have guest panelists last finale before this one. So I'm just saying, in the essence of just Jeff's sustainment, like I'm just looking at it like, that was good feedback from somebody that's a listener. So we're actually getting good quality feedback from somebody who's not a panelist. So we always want to make sure that we stick to the script of what we're doing and try to be the best panelists that we can be. So in order to do that, we need as much feedback from the listeners as possible. So I think it's something that has been going well since we started the show and something that we need to continue. So, we might have more listeners next season, and we might have new people that'll be on the finale panel. So I think we didn't do this last time, so I think this is something that we keep. This is something new that we've been doing, and I think it's something that we should continue in the future.
Sounds good to me.
All right, and then we'll let Brother Jeff speak on it, and then it'll go to you.
I think that's a good sustainment also, because it gives the panelists, those who choose to be on the panel. And it's easier than, for those who want to be on the panel as a guest panelist. And it was easier for me coming in the queue, coming out the queue, coming in the queue. So now I'm actually on the panel, so now I can, chime in, and it actually has the show going a little smoother as well. So now those who are on the panel, can just voice their opinion. So I think that's a good idea, and it shows that at the finale, to be a guest panelist, I can voice my opinion and be right on the panel with everyone else, so we're on like a level playing field. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good thing to do, continue to do on the finale show. And I enjoy being on the panel, and then it probably gives some other callers a idea to show that, hey, if Jeff can do it, you can do it too. So that's I think that's a good sustainment.
All right, it's on you, Brother Shema.
I don't have it today, honestly.
All right, cool. That's fine too. That's fine too. I have a few things, but so I guess Brother Jeff, if you had anything else, you could throw it out there, and then I will comment on it. And matter of fact, you could just throw all your sustainments out there if you want to. And then if it's anything that you don't hit, I will hit it.
Okay, the only other thing I would be the opening, and I don't know how that falls on whether it's a sustainment or a recommendation, but moving forward, sustaining I guess that would be sustaining the opening with the intro with the song and then the prayer. I've enjoyed that this season. It was definitely all three of the panelists actually participated, and I think that was good. So I think that should be a sustainment. Now, if there are any adjustments, I still think that the intro should still be there, and so that's a sustainment. That's the last sustainment I had.
Okay, yeah, so we definitely going to sustain that. And I believe I see Brother Mercy here now. We pretty much drawing to a close, but I will open your mic. So just give me a brief moment, Brother Mercy. So right now we are talking about improvements. No, we're talking about sustainments. So things that we did during the show that could be sustained or that we should keep as we move forward into season 4. So, Brother Mercy, you are now a part of the panel. Shalom, brother.
Happy Sabbath, brothers. Happy Sabbath. Glad to be with you, brothers, today. I think one good thing we need to sustain, allowing people to come up with topics that we can use in the shows, upcoming shows, and also sustaining putting the shows on, the shows on the, how you save them on the talk radio, I guess, site. And the polls. That's what I would say.
Oh, the polls, okay. Yeah, I didn't even think of that one. I'm glad you just chimed in and popped up because I would have forgot about that. So that's definitely a good one to sustain. I think y'all hit all of them. Of course, allowing people that call in to speak whenever they feel is good. I think as we're going through, I think that's good, and not making them wait to the end. I think that's good to keep. Is there anything else? Yeah, I think that's. Does anybody have anything else?
I do.
I know posting the shows to YouTube, I think that's convenient for some people. All right, we're gonna move into some improvements, things that we could do to improve, or this may be also some things that we talked about, Brother Shamar. So I know you was talking about something earlier, but we'll save that to after this, and then so this is just specifically for this show, and then we'll talk about his Talk Ones Talk Radio as a whole. That work for you?
Yeah.
All right. So improvements for this show. Brother Mercy, we'll let you start. What do you think we could do to improve the show?
One thing I think you can improve on is start posting Eastern Standard Time on when the show starts. Because you guys are always posting Central Standard Time. And I think it started at, I would say 1 o'clock today. I think. Well, how long has the show been going on today?
An hour and a half.
See, you said 11 o'clock Central Standard, which is, hold on.
It's 12 your time.
It is 12?
Yeah, they just an hour behind Eastern. Central is an hour behind Eastern time. Yep.
Oh, did you guys post? Wait a minute, hold on. Did you guys post a different time before?
No, so I'm on Arizona. I'm in Arizona right now, so my time in Arizona don't change. So when y'all go up an hour, I stay. So I'm 2 hours behind Central time. So on mine, I don't know if it show y'all from the perspective of your time zone, excuse me, your time zone, or if it show you my time zone. I don't know what you see.
Before, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, But I thought you guys were posting MST before.
Yeah, so MST, that's Mountain Standard Time, but I'm in Arizona, so Mountain Time changes, but Arizona, they don't change their time. So maybe that's possibly where the disconnect is. They don't have an Arizona thing, but I just put the time that for the event, I put my time that I will be starting. So maybe that's where the confusion, but what I can do is because all I do is create the event, and the information is on the event, but what I can do is make a separate post from the event, or I could just share the event into his Taught Ones, even though it pops up soon as I create it, and just put notes that for each time zone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could do that. So that way, everybody knows the time for their time zone. Because I don't even think a lot of people know that Arizona time don't change as well. So, all right. So definitely can do that. I will take that down in the notes. Brother Shemai, you got anything we could improve on?
For mine or the blank, if I would have known, like the questions already, I probably would have had. I can't really think off the top right now, honestly. I'm trying to think. So just come back around to me. If I come up with something, I'll tell you. If not, I have to just tell y'all later.
Well, it's probably best if we hear from the listeners anyway. So, Brother Jeff, do you have any improvements?
No, I didn't have any improvements. I can relate on that. What Brother Mercy was saying about the time. I did get a little confused every now and then. So what I would end up doing is just calling the number, and then it would tell me show starts in an hour and a half and all that. So definitely that would be one improvement that I can agree on as far as the timing. And I think that's it as far as the improvements. I did have a recommendation later on, though.
How you can get that recommendation now?
And it might be out there a little bit. And it's just I'm just trying to remember. I think it was a couple of shows ago. I think dealing with Isaiah in maybe the 3rd and 4th chapter. It was talking about the 7 women should take hold of one man, and something dealing with the hair and all that. And I do recall during that show, if that's the same one, where I think we had 2 other women that came on, and they were breaking down the scripture and something to the extent of that's from a male's perspective, and what about a female perspective? You don't really understand from a female perspective, and I'm non-biased, just to put that out there. So I think it would be a recommendation, maybe a female panelist. I'm just saying, maybe later on down the road, because I do recall when that topic came up, there was a little not controversy, a little heated discussion there, and it kind of like went from the gender type thing, and I can relate to that, especially where I work at. It's predominantly that happens. I'm just saying it like that. So that was just something that would be definitely. I like the fact that they have a smile on the line, and she represents, but definitely as some female women participation would definitely be good. So we definitely have it to where it's not. So you asked, I told. So that's something that I remembered from the previous show.
Okay. Hey,
I want to comment.
That's a pretty powerful. Go ahead, Shema.
We definitely agree. It's been tough trying to find some. Are you talking about as a panelist? Okay, that's dope. But as far as I believe, in order to have a panelist, there's 2 things that we need. A female panelist at that. It's 2 things that's needed, maybe 3, but I just speak on the 2 that I can think of right now. 1, they probably would have had to been with us from the beginning, like you all have. That's one. And two, we need more women to speak up. We have one woman, Sister Chachma. And, I guess first and foremost, we got to get someone that's comfortable with being out there. If they are, then, because it's not like it's only going to be men. I know that's not what you're saying. I know that's not, I don't even know that's what you're thinking. But just to put that out there for people that are listening, that wasn't the case. It's not the case. It's just that we have women, I'm sure, tuning in. We don't know all the people that's tuning in. They're all over the place. But you and Brother Mercy, and are the only people that really, really speaks consistently. Sister Chachma, she speaks when the Spirit moves her to. So, I mean, it's kind of what we got, If you all know anyone that's been listening for a while that's a female and, has a general understanding as to what we have unraveled or what has, unraveled through architectural study, then please be our guest to let us know, because I definitely agree with that, completely. It has to have balance, not only for balance sake, but for the listener's sake, to not think that it's a biased show, and to understand that we're not even nowhere near biased when it comes to this. And that's all I have.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to what Shema was saying.
Okay.
That I think we need more roundtable discussions. I think roundtable is good. Whether it's you can do it on not reset, but on rest days, on rest shows, maybe do more like a roundtable discussion. Because what I found is roundtable is real good, especially when you're dealing with tough topics to deal with. You know what I mean? That way we can interact more so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. That was an idea that was actually circulating in my head. And so we might change it to the round table reset or the round table rest show. And that will be our rest shows from here on out. It'll just be straight round table unless we have a guest speaker. Now, I noticed this season, did we have a guest speaker? Did we bring somebody to speak so. Like we did during the season prior? I don't think we did. So
You did. That guy
maybe it was
about
that when we was Kings, or was that when we
thought
was
it was
doing
on a rest show. I don't know.
It was a rest show, but I don't think it was during the time that we've been going through Isaiah. I think that was during when we was in Kings. So I mean, just from y'all perspective, is that something y'all would like to have next season? Because, I don't think we did it this season. At least one guest or some outside person to come in and speak, or y'all think we should just keep it just the show and then round tables? Like the regular show, and then for the rest show, just have round table discussion. Anybody can speak.
I think we should have roundtable on rest shows. And the good thing about roundtable, you can invite guests on the roundtable. It's like at the dinner table. You can invite guests or whoever you want to invite on the round table.
Okay. What you think about that, Shema?
Man, you know I'm all for whatever we come up with, as long as it's productive and as long as we grow from it. Then I'm down. Like the ground.
Cool.
Never heard that before. They all like the ground. That's them.
All right. So, Brother Mercy, you missed the first portion of it. So what I'm going to allow you to do is to it was 2 topics that we covered. It was any resets that we had, and then any season highlights that we had. So if you want to go ahead, you could do either or, just get them all out. We won't interrupt you till you finish. And then if we have anything to add to what you said, we will do so then. So if you had any resets that you hit, or if there was any season highlights for you this season going through the book of Isaiah, then you could just go ahead and spew those out right now. And then me and Shema will speak about some other things concerning his Talk Ones Talk Radio in general, outside of just the reset button. And then we'll do closing remarks.
I think one of the highlights of the season was the whole. I think Isaiah is a powerful book. I think the 7 women to 1 man thing. I think, to me, that was a highlight because a lot of people have used that to justify different things and trying to implement different, because brothers saying, "Oh, I can't wait to until that day to 1 man take 7 wives," and that's. I don't think that's what that verse is saying, but that's just me, That's a highlight for me. Also, was a highlight was the fact that I don't think I've read anywhere where Isaiah was severely persecuted. I don't remember reading that, which was kind of like a reset, for me. But yeah, I think the season highlights are that, about Isaiah. I always thought he was a deep brother. I always thought that about him. But I just feel that, people use Isaiah for different things and different agendas. I just feel that it's always good to go through his book because then, you will definitely see the truth. And I think truth is what Isaiah was getting to. I think that's so important, being honest. And just being honest, being truthful, that whole thing, it to me is being holy, But yeah, that's my whole thing with Isaiah. I think his prophecies, another season highlight, his prophecies was relative to his day, but I also believe they can point to the future in certain areas, in certain respects. But yeah, my main reset was about how Isaiah is used in so many different ways. Oh yeah, and then about him and Hezekiah, one of the kings. Him living during that time was a reset for me because it's never taught that way. To me, Isaiah seems like an old prophet, Yeah. But those are my main things with Isaiah. And also the highlights would be I enjoyed the rush shows. I think the rush shows were good this year. So that's what I feel the season highlights was. We're gonna miss. I know we all gonna miss a Rec Dean, him and his contributions. But I feel that the highlight of the season was that, I don't know if we're gonna get someone like a Rec Dean, that type of personality among the top ones again. So I call that a highlight because he's definitely a highlight. And I think that, if he ever comes back or if he don't come, whatever the case may be, I feel that he's definitely a highlight of this season, So that's it.
Well, those were some very good resets and highlights. I love the feedback. Very interesting about the Yosef as a highlight. I will say that he has a personality of his own, and for Isaiah, he did bring a lot to the table as far as Isaiah is concerned. So I would never take anything away from him concerning Isaiah and what he contributed to the panel. All right, Shemai, did you want to start off talking about just his top ones in general, some of the things that we're looking to do?
Kind of trying to see where or what do I even want to speak on or start with that. I know one of the things that I plan to contribute that I'm actually working on now, we see that Yediah brought out Manifesting the Music as another separate segment to the actual show, other than our contextual studies on Shabbat, or on Saturday. So another segment that is going to be added to the show is I entitled. It's going to be something I'm bringing forth, and I have entitled it Gum Elohe. And what that means is divine restoration. Okay. Shigum could actually also mean rehabilitation, redemption, or recovery. But in essence, it's divine restoration. The purpose of this segment or this show, or even the meaning of the phrasing that I decided to put together with it is we are at a state as a people to where we are literally lost. You hear that so much, it's kind of like a popular saying, that we're lost. But in actuality, we are, when it comes to family, collectively, husband and wife, when it comes to even a courting stage before husband and wife, relationships, when it comes to economics, when it comes to health, when it comes to just a people in general. So what I plan to do with this show is, when you think of a baby that's born, you're looking at a baby that's born, they have a pure stage, right? So it's like when a baby is born, to me, it's just a divine moment. You're seeing the birth, you're seeing the creation, you're seeing a new thing that started that has just, sprouted, But divine restoration is bringing us back to that state, bringing us back to, if you're even looking at the times we're in now in United States compared to where we were before, our customs, our spirituality. I want to talk about subject matters regarding to that. Even health, there's going to be topics about that, statistics, scientific things. These are things I'm going to be bringing out and still correlating it with the principles of the Tanakh. So I'm going to be speaking on things like that. Of course, you all can tune in, you all come in, but it's going to be more so like a presentation type thing, a lecture type thing, and then I'm going to have points within there to where, of course, I bring people in to comment, to ask questions and things of that nature, have a dialogue towards the end. But I really want to just present things. I really want to just open everyone's minds. Most High willing, He gives me the tool to present it. So I'm really going to be taking my time on it. I plan to do it once a week. Honestly, shoot, I would do it once every 2 weeks, because I really want to take my time on each topic. But I might do it once a week. But I'll let you all know for sure, because this is very important to me. It's been weighing on my heart. You have no idea, man. Maybe you do. Just day-to-day life, things that I see. Who am I? What makes me the person or the founder of wanting to bring this about? A lot of people are doing this, but it's just been pricking me. And, I'm literally, it's been times I've been here in my own place just tearing up from it, man, So Most High put it on my spirit, and it's really geared towards our people, so-called black people across the world, especially in America. Is not pushing aside other races or anything like that, but it's more so geared towards us. Statistically, we're the most broken. Statistically, I'm not speaking individually, because we do understand in different races there are people that can relate, to what we're going through. But statistically speaking, the black race across the world is broken. So that's the purpose of Shikum Elohe, or divine restoration, divine recovery, divine redemption, divine rehabilitation. That's the purpose of what I'm bringing to the table in this segment. And I hope you all enjoy it. I ask that you keep me in your prayers, or say a prayer for me to bring forth things that are substantial and that can help change people's either perspective, to lead them down a path of bettering their lives, or just, and also help change their character, because that's another thing I'm going to bring, into that divine recovery, divine restoration. Key thing is divine, so that's what we want to get to. That's the only way. So, with that, I've been long-winded. It's just really on my heart. I really want to speak on it heavily. So topics that it will be about real quick is character, collective relationships as far as marriage, courting type things as far as relationships, economics, health, community-based things, So that's what it's going to be about. So that's it.
All right. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with it. As he mentioned in his presentation, I got manifest in the music. I think I finally made it a concrete thing. So I'm only going to do that once a month. Preferably the last Monday of the month, so like Music Monday, So if you know any positive, conscious artists. I don't want to support no folly or no negativity. Just let me know, link them with me, and I try to get them on the show. But yeah, I mean, they don't have to be artists. They can be producers. They can be radio personalities that deal with music. Anything dealing with music, because it's manifesting the music. So that's really all I have for that. But again, I want to make sure I support Shemai as well. So I probably, like he said, it's going to be presentation. It's going to be his baby, but I want to make sure that I show him that support. And I guess I'll open it for anybody else that want to speak towards anything that's been said. But before y'all do, before y'all do, we got like 3 minutes of stream time left. So if anybody's listening online, make sure you call in if you want to continue in the dialogue. We won't be long after this, but we will go past the regular scheduled time. The number is 516-595-8238. Again, that's 516-595-8238.
I also want to add something, man, if you allow me to. Something that me and you speaking about. So I don't know if we was going to ask if we had anything else to add about the show or what.
Nah, we just we speak freely right now.
Okay. It's a lot of things I've been looking into. You know, I'm going to present this stuff too, as far as economics, you know, in the future, in the should go another way. But what I want to, it was something that Brother Jeff had said a while back. Now, I want to know what you all think, those that's listening. Really want your input. Brother Mercy, Brother Jeff, Sister Hakma, please comment if you're still on. I'm not able to see who's on the board. And you as well, Yadiya. You know, we all spoke on things in regards to, you know, one day getting to the point where we can have like an annual type thing. We spoke on community-based stuff. We also spoke on growing in the show. Now, this is just an idea and a thought. It does not have to happen or anything like that. It's just something that I've been, and I'll explain later, you know, my take on it. But what do you all think about like a GoFundMe account for his talk lines to do some of the things we all have been mentioned throughout the show? Just anything. I mean, what's your take on it? You know, I just want to know. Of course, it'd be all, you know, donating type thing. It's nothing forced or anything like that. But I was just wondering because I had some ideas in regards to what to use it for. But I just wanted to put it out there in the air and see what y'all thoughts was. That's it.
Well, I guess I'll be the first to speak. I do know in the past I had an individual ask me about donating, and I just kind of was like, I blew it off because I'm not really the one to take money. But at the same time, if somebody wants to give to the cause, if they feel like they are led to do so, I mean, I guess I shouldn't suppress that or take that away from them. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I know me for a fact I wouldn't use it for personal gain, and I know Shema wouldn't do it either. So, I mean, me, I guess we would use it because, I mean, we pay out our own pocket to run the show, and anything that we use for the show to expand the show, like, I've paid out of my pocket personally to do so. So, if anything, that would help, you know, to build at least the His Taught Ones brand as far as the things that we are looking to do. So I'm not opposed to it. I would just have to take out of my mind, you know, or bring myself to understand that it's not going to me, it's going to us. Because when it was asked to me, could they donate or anything like that. So I just told them, well, we don't got nothing like that. I appreciate the offer, but, you know, we ain't got nothing like that. That was my response at the time, and this was a while back. So I'm not opposed to it.
If you allow me to, I want to add something before anybody else comment. Again, I'm not opposed to it, and if it's not done, I'm cool with it too. Like you said, we've been paying out our own pockets for whatever, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. This is our baby. This is something we wanted to do. This is something that was moved to put on our heart to do. But I will throw this out there, and I don't know what's your take on it, or if I'm speaking too soon. But you know, making people comfortable. One of the things that I am taking from an organization that I was actually at. They actually presented everything they used the money for. You know what I'm saying? Like, they literally presented what it was for to the not only to the people that was a part of it, like not the panelists. I'm saying panelists because we're panelists, but I don't even know what to call them, chairman or not chairman, but, you know, whatever, the people that run it. And they presented it to their members as well. So, I mean, it was just my mind just going right now. And the reason this came up, it was a few reasons, 2 or 3 reasons that came up. Because same thing was asked to me, like you had said, or presented to me actually. And then a lot of my studies as of late, I'll speak on that, on some things that I bring out in my presentations or my lectures. But you all right over there?
I don't know what that was. That wasn't me. I was on mute.
Hey, on that note, I yield. But, yeah, I think y'all get what I'm trying to say. I think y'all get what I'm trying to say. I yield.
Anybody could feel free to speak. Unless somebody just got ate by a jaguar. Because that's what it sounds like.
It sounds like something animalistic dropped in the phone. But, okay, well, you know, let's keep moving forward. Definitely.
Well, I can go ahead and chime in right quick. I'm just say that I definitely, think that we should support anything that any of us do. How there were times Brother Mercy had his show on Thursdays, if I can remember, and he got a lot of support from his Taught Ones as well. So I think, it's good to support each other. And then in the aspect of the GoMe Fund, I think that, of course, from, with how things are going right now in the world in regards to money, we know that that's a controversial topic, especially in the churches today, so we can understand how when anyone approaches something dealing with money, you definitely want to proceed with caution because you never want to have, give anyone the impression, and you never want to have anyone think, that these things are going on. So I have that. I can understand that. On the other side of that, I'm going to throw a curveball. think that's what Brother Yedadiah did with the on the Monday night radio show he did when he was talking to his guests. But there are some who have been a part, of his talk runs for years, for a while. And just like you said on the finale, how, opening up the panel to where, some of the callers can be guest panels so they can feel a part as well. And I think that's in the same aspect of, if someone has a desire to just, I just feel like, some people want to feel a part. And therefore they feel like if they're receiving and participating, calling in, some of them want to go a little bit further than that and actually contribute to the cause. Or, so I think that it's a good idea, but I do appreciate that it's being proceeded with caution because I understand how the stereotypes are out there. But I think it would be a good thing, just pray about it. And when you all feel comfortable with it, then, of course, go for it. But I think it's a good thing. And then because there are a lot of people out there who just want to do just that, support in multiple ways through calling in, finances and things of that. I support Ruby Tuesdays on a regular. I support Applebee's on the regular because I eat there. So so that's just one thing that I would say on that. And the other thing I would like to say is I did appreciate all the comments that Brother Mercy did. I did. If he was still online, I don't know if it's appropriate now, but I'll go ahead and ask if, in fact, that he possibly hit his reset button on some other topics that we discussed when he wasn't present in regards to Isaiah 6, of course, 9, and Elikayim and all that good stuff. So that was just one of the things I just wanted to ask as well. That's all I had. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Brother Mercy, you could speak. Sister Hookma, I see you in the queue. I will let you in as soon as Brother Mercy.
You said Isaiah 6.
I think he meant to say 9:6.
Oh, 9:6? Okay. I was going to say, though, it's interesting. I wanted to talk about Bill Cosby, but I talk Bill Cosby real quick, and I address you Isaiah 9:6. But what I want to say about Bill Cosby is, if you guys remember, back in 2004, Bill Cosby had made some negative comments about, black people, and he has said that, well, I'll just read it. He talks about how black men who black men beat their wives. It's interesting. Oh yeah, here it is right here. It's on NBC News back in 2004. He said he also had harsh words for black men who don't have jobs and are angry about their lives. Stop beating up your women. You've got to stop beating up your women because you can't find a job, because you didn't want to get an education, and now you're earning minimum wage. You should have thought more of yourself when you were in high school, when you had an opportunity. I just wanted to say that I think people, we need to pay attention to some of the things. I mean, yeah, we know Bill Cosby has donated a lot of money to our HBCUs and given a lot of money out, but he's made some very discriminatory comments towards our people. And I just wanted to say, sometimes when we, quote unquote, arrived, we like to talk down to people. And I think what he's found through this whole criminal case trial is that he had to deal with the same things we deal with. Now he's got convicted. Now, he understands the injustice going on, So I just wanted to say, I'm not saying he didn't understand it before, but he tried to speak to poor people and try to say, all y'all, dropped out of school, whatever. But who is Bill Cosby? He's nothing more than a comedian. And I think people forget that. He's a comedian who's America's dad, who's supposed to role model to our community, but he's a comedian pretending to be a husband and a father, as far as on the show. But I just wanted to say, with that, I don't feel sorry for Bill Cosby, because what I see happen to him, it just showed him that, hey, you still black in this country. Regardless of how much money you got, you're still black. And I just wanted to say that. But Isaiah 9:6, going to that, I think it's a good verse, and I'm Messianic. I've always started that verse the same way, wonderful counsel. Oh, yeah, the Prince of Peace part. Yeah, the Prince of Peace part. I think the Prince of Peace there, I had to reset with that part because he's a prince. And a lot of people feel that he's a king, but as Isaiah said, he's a prince. He never sat on the throne of David. I think I did say that before. When they tried to anoint him king, he had not done it. He was bashful. Well, he didn't follow through with it. So I feel he's a prince, and he's a son. He's been called a son and a prince. And until and we know in Israel culture, in Torah culture, the father has to die in order for the son to become king. So as long as the father's alive, the son will always be a prince. So we know the father never has died, so he always will be a prince. So I see him as a prince of peace. And so that's my take on Isaiah. His enemies called him the king of the Jews. His enemies called him a king. His enemies called him that. Pilate called him that, or the Romans called him that when they crucified him. They called him king of the Jews, or king. His enemies called him a king. But Isaiah the prophet called him a prince. So that's all I can say.
Brother Jeff, did that answer your question, or did you have anything you wanted to say in response?
Well, no, I think that was good. I got his viewpoint on it, and I definitely appreciate what he said about Bill Cosby. I just don't want to say any more because I don't want Brother Shema to jump on Brother West, you know what I'm saying, because he already brought that up. A lot of good points. I watched his video on Kanye West. That kind of tied in with what Bill Cosby has been saying. So definitely appreciate the input. And at the end of the day, we are black. We don't want to forget that. So thank you for the input.
All right, Sister Hokma, thank you for being patient. I'm about to open up your mic. I know you was out for a minute, so feel free to speak on whatever it is you want to speak on. There is no time limit. Just you can speak. So you're live.
Oh, thank you. Well, I do apologize, family, because I was out. Not due to I wanted to be out. However, I'm coming in at the end, so I'm just going to, I'm not sure about the Brother Jeff comment about Brother Shema jumping or whoever, so I'm definitely going to comment to what Brother Mercy stated. I love what he said as far as, our brothers quit jumping on the woman, because we do hear that a lot, and I am a woman. And I'm definitely one to say, quit pointing the finger over here when you cause your own issues that you have, whatever it may be, because just the drugs was put in our area, but we weren't put a gun to our head and said, do this. Yes, I'll just even say, how people like to complain about welfare was put in the system. We wasn't put a gun to our head to say, accept it. I hear black men talking about that black women are pushing the black men out the house. Black men, stand up and be a man. A woman can't push you out of a house. You put your own self out of the house. Whatever you have done to cause that woman to make you to leave, you should always stand up and still be a man. That's your home. No woman can put you out of your house. Point blank, period. And so that's just my comment on that. I haven't really followed much of the Kanye West little, we put ourselves in slavery or whatever been going on, because social media have been so bombarded with it. I'm just like, I don't have time. I have other things to be putting into my system besides Kanye West, whatever comment he said. Yes, people did get their pennies in a bunch by his comment. He's free to say whatever he wants to say, just like I am saying today. So I really didn't go into it and feed into it because I have an agreement with Kanye West as far as slavery, as far as today slavery, not as far as yesterday slavery. So that's just that. But anyway, so that's my little tidbit on that. Y'all can comment on that if you like, because the way I'm feeling today, hey, I got boxing gloves on. Let's go. However, you know I love y'all so much. Anyway, so then another thing, I really pushed the button to say something about the GoFundMe, but then Brother Murphy had made that comment because I had missed all of the show, and I do apologize. I feel horrible because I really wanted to be here today. The GoFundMe, I'm with it. Brother Jeff has stated you guys have been very wonderful to me. I feel dear to you guys. I don't have a problem putting anything into the GoFundMe account. If there's a specific amount you would like, I'll do that. If you're just okay, Sister Hockman, put in what you like, I'll do that also. Just set it up, and I'll be there because you guys dedicate a lot of time and energy. You sacrifice some of your family time, and you feed us, and I eat, and I'm full. So if you're feeding me, I shouldn't be getting, let me say this correctly, you're feeding me the correct nutrients, I shouldn't be getting full and not putting anything towards the plate. So I'm with it. So that was all I really had to say, and if I think of anything else, I'll give it to you guys. But I love you guys, each one of the ones on the panel, and I don't mean generic love. I truly do love y'all.
All right. Thank you very much for your kind words and feedback.
Can I put that real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, to piggyback what she said, but also Kanye West, to me, I see him as a rapper, so I really don't consider his words, they really don't affect him, you know. He's just a guy that he just is, again, we're talking about comedians, entertainers, these are people we look up to, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know how you can take the words of comedian seriously at all. But, and then you got a rapper, entertainer, you know. To me, he just needs to stay in his lane. I mean, I don't think he has a clear understanding of what happened during slavery. I really don't. I mean, if he really understood what happened during slavery, he wouldn't have said that, because that don't match with history. So I know he hasn't been educated on what happened in slavery and what happened. We were taken from our land, and we were not voluntarily put into slavery. You know, it wasn't our choice to be put into slavery. And then, if you understand anything about slavery, you know a lot of, especially from the Torah perspective, you was enslaved to pay off a debt. That even agrees with history. There was never this thing about perpetual slavery, like they did over what America did. It doesn't match with history. This is a whole new concept of slavery. They it's called generational perpetual slavery, which it did not exist even in Egypt times when the Hebrews were enslaved. They kept their own traditions, their own language. They even had their own land. You know, so this thing stripping people of their identity thing, that is like new. I mean, stripping somebody of their identity. I mean, we don't even know how, you know, we're just learning back how to speak the Hebrew language, you know. I mean, you got to really think about what has happened. I mean, we really, you know, it's multiple layers, you know. It's not just a physical slavery. We got a mental slavery. We got a psychological slavery. We got, you know, it's multi-layered. So when you think about it from that perspective, for us to overcome all of that, no one has ever done it in history. No group of people has overcome all those layers. Because even if you look at history of slavery, most people have either kept their language, kept their traditions. Even a lot of people that were enslaved, they were able to go back home. We don't even know where home is at. I'm just telling you. I mean, you could say Israel, yeah, but who's there? I mean, where in Israel? I mean, when you talk about home, it's not just the home where, when I think about home, I'm thinking about where I get my mail at. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is we don't have how can I say it, a family home to go back to. Because, what they say, a house and a home, two different things. You can go back to Israel, but your family, is not there. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. So I just wanted to say that, and even you can say Africa. Even Africa is a continent. We're the only people from a continent. Everybody else is from a nation. Japanese from Japan, Chinese from China. You go down the list. Ethiopians, they from Ethiopia. Everybody knows what nation they belong to. And then even if you go back to Israel, that government that's been established was not established by people that look like us. So, I mean, so that would even be a foreign government, even if you went home. But that's another subject. But, and they're dealing with what's going on. They actually, some of these Hebrews are dealing with the same thing we're doing over here, over there, over here. So it's like, I'm not saying don't go home because I'm a very proponent of going home. But what I'm saying is when you go home, you might find the same problems at home that you have here. So living at home is just like living here. Think about that. So I just wanted to say the problem is bigger than what Kanye is talking about. The problem is bigger than what Bill Cosby's talking about. But can we overcome this? Yes, we can. But what we got to do is we're going to have to build some type of, one more thing. I want to take some more time. I went to a Jamaican restaurant one time. I had Jamaican money on me in the United States. I went to a Jamaican restaurant, and of course I went to Jamaica too. But I went to a Jamaican restaurant here in the United States. I tried to give the Jamaican restaurant Jamaican money to pay for my food. They would not accept it. They said, we don't accept Jamaican dollars. This is the United States. But I'm just trying to show you how even people from other countries, when they come here, they don't use their own currency anymore. They use the United States currency, which makes sense. But I'm just trying to help you understand that even if you practice things here, it only will go but so far. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. We even had our own currency, according to Torah. That's a part of Torah people don't talk about. We had our own currency. So you got to get your own currency, too. But that's all I want to say.
All right, Brother Mercy. Appreciate that. Maybe that's something we could revisit in the next season as a rest show. I think we covered everything. I will allow everybody that participated on the panel to give closing remarks. So we'll start with you, Mercy, then Jeff, Shema, then I'll go last, and I will close us out in prayer.
Yeah, I just want to say really quick, this was a great show today. Like always, this is a great thing to do on the Sabbath day, to discuss scripture and discuss topics. I think it was a great show. It's like always. I think this is the starting point. I think now we're in the grassroots of something great. I think if we keep working hard, we'll reach our destination. We'll reach the promised land. But I just wanted to say that, it's just been a journey. And I say that to say we can't look to rappers and we can't look to comedians for guidance on, issues that we're going through, because we can see their minds has been contaminated, But I just wanted to say that, can we overcome? Sure we can. With the Most High's help, sure we can. But we got to understand what we're fighting against. This is not something we're going to just come out by just telling jokes. And by rapping and making rap songs, we got something real heavy to deal with. So I just wanted to say that, it's a great show. I think we're heading in the right direction. But we got to start being honest with one another, telling each other the truth about things, and really see people who they are. Just because they got the same melanin skin color as us, don't necessarily mean they represent what we stand for. And, and I think it was a great show. I think we're on the right path, and I think we can do great things. But that's all I have to say. And I'm Brother Mercy out.
So, Brother Jeff, I'd like to also say it was a great show. A great way to close out the season. Definitely want to say in closing that I'm glad to be a part of the talk show, and I think that it was really great to hear Brother Mercy mention Brother Yosef and how he contributed as well. And definitely appreciate all of the panelists and all those who call in. And I do agree also that we're moving towards something great and just got to continue to remain in the fight, and then we'll eventually reach the destination. So thank you all for allowing me to be on the panel, and I really enjoyed the show, and I look forward to what next season has to bring. Jeff out.
Shalom, everyone that's tuning in or listening back. I just want to reiterate what I said in the beginning. It's been a long season, and we're getting ready for the next one. Hopefully each season we get better. So we want to continue to grow and implement ideas that can help us grow intellectually, spiritually, and also collectively, which I hope that we'll continue to come up with ideas to do these things. And that is one of the reasons some of these things have been implemented. Manifesting the music, music has helped our people for a very, very long time, in different instances where you thought that you couldn't go, any longer. You think of slavery times, hymns and songs. So I think that Dear Yah's Baby, manifesting the music is very relevant, very much needed, and very much positive, because we're in a time where music is one of the go-to things that everyone goes to. Wow. Whether it's entertainment, movies is a getaway for people, and music is a getaway for people. So with that being said, it's very influential as well. So, him bringing this about, he's exposing artists that can actually feed your mind with positive things to help you get through certain things throughout your day, throughout your life, and you won't have to settle to go to the world for music. Not saying just don't listen to it. This is another alternative that feeds your mind in a better way, in my opinion. So I think that's a great addition and growth with our platform. And when I say our, I'm not talking about me and yada yada. I'm talking about ours, all of us, like Brother Jeff said, or I think it was Mercy, one of the two. We've been doing this for a lot of years, almost 3 years. So then the second one, I've been sitting on that for a while. I actually had a different name for it, but, everything is for a reason and a season, and I think this is the perfect time to bring it out. It's very much needed. I promise you that I'm going to put my all into it, and I'm not going to leave it at this. I plan to actually take it out in my city, Chicago, for now. I would love to be able to take this elsewhere. That's my vision with it. I think that, learning the laws of the things of the God, Elohim, structure is amazing. But I think the core thing, and if you'll allow me to back up one of the things we was mentioning was, a community. That is fine and dandy. That's awesome, right? But the first thing I believe that we need to strengthen is our mind frame and how we think, because that is what leads our actions in everything, whether it's relationships, like I mentioned, economics, health. Our first thing before doing anything physically or acting towards it is the way that we think. So I'm glad that that's implemented. And, as far as the GoFundMe account, to answer Sister Hakman's question, we're not asking for anything, man. I don't care if somebody give $1. Honestly, that's being real. I didn't bring this up to expect to get anything major or anything like that. I don't care if it's $1. That's awesome to me. And lastly, one more thing before my last final thing to say. As for, I do want to comment on Mercy. I think he's right. This is not to take away from those in entertainment or anything, because I know there are some that might have some type of understanding or sincerity in what they do, but we also got to be wise. And as we can see, the world is not wise and discerning, because that statement, I can understand it. I lean more along the lines of what Sister Chakma said with today's slavery is a choice. Yes. Back then, I don't believe that to be the case. I have slave narratives. I posted it. If y'all, my friends on Facebook, check out my last few posts. It's an actual slave narrative. You see these people actually did fight. If you allow me to say, one of the people I shared, Thomas, he knew that reading, intellectually, getting your mind strong can actually help you to get out of a situation. And he was hiding a book, and he threw the book. He tried to have the book with him. The master came, and the master accused him from stealing. And he just didn't. He said he did not steal, but he did not give up that book. He said he would die for that book, meaning he was learning to read. He was teaching himself how to read. And sure enough, this is what got him out of slavery, out of 40 years being there, right? So he fought for, I'm talking about, got whipped, blood gushing out, all that stuff. He even said he was willing to die. So a lot of people I'm hearing saying, you got a choice, either to live or die. I'm sorry I'm speaking on it, but you got me started, Jeff. Just give me about 30 seconds to a couple minutes. I don't know. It's things we got to think of as different variables, man. Kanye West said something about, people getting their tongues cut off and what he would have done. When there's people saying the same thing, agreeing with him when they're not fighting for the cops. The cops, they're not fighting as far as government concerned, government issues, in a smart way, by the way. I ain't talking about killing and all that stuff, And then you still got your slave master last name. Not to put prick anybody's heart when I say this, but, you got to be real and be fair. What if the guy was chained up? Why do you think they did the whippings? Because people was trying to escape, and they used them as an example. They used them as an example in front of people. That does something. The people still fighting. You can't overcome a people that got guns and bullets and you really don't have nothing, no matter how strong you think. It took help for us to get to where we are right now. We didn't do it on our own. Nat Turner, all that. Yeah, but we did not win. So it's not that, man. And lastly, I'm gonna say in regards to that, he's never been an activist. His album is coming out in June. That's the one thing everybody is forgetting. His album is coming out in June. A double album or something like that. Of course. So that's what I'm saying with wisdom and discernment. See what's happening. I allow myself to let this route, upset me. It's more so, it wasn't about his statement, but it was about saying what you will do if you was back then. So with that being said, I know I went off course. Those are the things, well, actually I kind of didn't. Those are the things that I think that we are wow, I did kind of line back up. It goes back to the manifesting the music, and it goes back to the Shakum Elohe, the divine restoration. So I guess it did bring it back home. So this is the things we're implementing, and this is what we're going to do. And we appreciate all of your support, and we want to keep growing. And we love you all, and that's all I have to say. Shalom.
All right, I ain't going to speak about Mr. West, okay? I think enough people have spoken about Mr. West. I'm going to keep my thoughts for now. But maybe in the future when we address these things on a rest show or something like that, I'll give it. But with that being said, I really enjoyed today's show. I enjoyed all the feedback from the guest panel. It's definitely something that we will continue to do in the future. Y'all got to excuse me. These seasonal allergies just messing me up. But I'm going to push through. So today is the finale, and we are going to take 2 weeks off to get prepared for the next season. The next season we'll be going through the book of Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu. So, with those 2 weeks off, it gives you an opportunity, if you want to go back and listen to any show. It also gives you time to get ahead of the game, study ahead. For us, it's going to give us time to study ahead, but also to prepare, the introduction, the song, the prayer. We're going to keep the prayer. We're also going to add a closing prayer as well. So that'll be interesting. Also, I just want to say, it's open. I know maybe next season, season 5 possibly. Like if y'all ever want to do anything, let us know. We're not opposed to anybody, contributing to any other things that we're doing for us. Like if you want to do the prayer, just send us the prayer, or you want to do a mission statement or whatever. Also, another thing that I'm adding that I didn't say is commercials. I know I said it before, but next season will be a lot more commercials. So also, if there's anything that you want to promote that you have going on, and you want to do a little voice recording or whatever, or if you have a commercial or something like that, submit it to his Talk Ones Talk Radio at Gmail, and we'll get it, and I definitely will implement it in the shows. So again, if you have any commercials, you got any product that any business that you have, and you want to do a commercial, I even offer my services musically. If you want me to do a commercial for you, I'll do it. It's no big deal. You just gotta give me some time to get it done, and also submit your ideals of what you wanted, what you want said or whatever like that. I don't know if Shema is offer his services for that as well. If you'd rather have it singing, he could rap too. He just don't do it as often, but I'll let him speak for himself, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have a problem with helping you out with promoting your business.
Oh, most definitely. I will have a problem with it. No, I'm playing. I'm down for the cause, everyone.
Yeah, so come up with a little jingle or something. We put it together. But, yeah, if you have anything, or you could just speak yourself about it, and I could put some music behind your voice. It don't really matter. But, yeah, so I'm taking all commercials. You know, like I said, I ain't supporting no folly. So if you got a drug commercial talking about you sell crack, of course I'm not putting that on the show. Or you selling lean, or you selling mollies or something like that. No, don't even waste your time. But anyway, yeah. So that's what we got coming up in the near future. Things that we're trying to do. We appreciate everybody's support, and you know, I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. But before I do, I just want to say that, again, we appreciate everybody that tuned in this season, and we welcome any new listeners. So if you know somebody, you know, spread the word. And then also, you know, we will be thinking about everybody in the midst of this 2 weeks. But if the Most High say the same, we will hear from all of y'all in 2 weeks. I might play some reruns or something, just in case, you know, you wanted to do something on the Shabbat, but you can always go on YouTube, and we got all the season 2 and season 3 shows uploaded, along with the Manifest of the Musics. So if you want to go check some of those out in the next 2 Shabbats, you know, feel free to do so. All right, without further ado, if everybody would clear their minds, I'm going to try to make it through this prayer without coughing. So I'm going to try to make it brief. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this gathering. We thank you for our brothers and sisters who participated. We thank you for the love, the genuine love shared amongst all of us here. And we just ask that you keep everyone as we go through these next 2 weeks. And if it's in your will, allow us to regather in the next 2 weeks for the next season. We thank you. We bless your holy name. Amen.